Hello, good people of YouTube. This is the second part to Frankie's healing journey at home. Frankie has literally been spending most of the day laying on his couch and bathing in the sun. And every time that the sun shifts, because he started way over here by the couch, every time that the sun shifts, he comes and gets me while I'm editing my vlog at the kitchen table over there. He'll come and get me and ask me to move his couch. We've been home for 9 days now. And look at this incision. Absolute perfection. It hasn't bled. No sign of infection. I check every single day. He hasn't shown any signs of pain. He's healing so nicely, and the sunshine probably helps that. So happy with the turnout. Besides Frank. Chicks dig scars. It's lunchtime, and we are going to give Frankie a healthy little snack. Some peas and white rice here. It's cold. I warn you now, buddy. But it's going to be delicious. You excited? Good boy. Good sit. Let's go over to your food dish so you don't have to eat this on the floor. Oh my, that's excitement. Oh, don't choke, buddy. So as we've said before, we've raised Frankie's new food dish. So it's easier on his neck so he doesn't have to strain as far. The bowls are smaller so that he doesn't have to stretch his neck across. It seems to be effective so far. I hope that it can help prevent any issues in the future with any of his other cervical discs. How was it? Chew with your mouth closed, young man. He inhales his food. It's pretty typical of a wiener dog, I'm told. Mitzi did the same thing. Gotta make sure there's nothing left. Is that good? Yeah? Worth it. Careful. Careful. Do you want it? Oh my, look at those eyes. Do you want it? Do you want the bunny? Yeah? Okay. Got him. Many of you have been asking me exactly what is IVDD. Now, it stands for intervertebral disc disease. I don't 100% know what that means. All I know is Frankie's case, and I basically just know like the simple version of it. The discs between your vertebrae in your spine, they are the cushioning that keep us from grinding bone on bone, basically. And the cervical discs are the ones in the neck. So Frankie had a C4 disc that was ruptured. And basically what that means is it basically burst. And the material was like a congealed, gross mess in there inside of a shell, but it was pushing outward and onto the spine. And a lot of pressure was on his spinal nerve. Obviously that caused a lot of pain. So basically what they did was they went through his throat, show the good people, they went up through his throat, pushed aside his trachea, and went beside his carotid and his jugular, which is one of the biggest reasons I was crying so much and I was so worried, because it's such a crucial part of the anatomy, of course. So they went up and in there, because with smaller dogs apparently it's easier to go from here. And they basically scooped out and scraped out that entire cervical disc. So now he's got nothing between there, but at least it's not pressing on the nerve. They were saying that it was a miracle that he wasn't in more pain, because it was pushing so hard on the nerve that his brain was no longer sending signals to his paws. His left paw was completely paralyzed by the time we got him there, and his right paw was on the verge of going. So we made it just in the nick of time. IVDD is a lot more common in smaller dogs such as Dachshunds, Basset Hounds, Beagles, so hound breeds, Corgis, Shih Tzus, so a lot of longer spine dogs, but a lot of smaller breeds. It can happen in larger dogs. Apparently it's a much more complicated surgery and the recovery is a lot less likely to be a success when it's a larger dog. But luckily Frankie's situation turned out a lot better than we thought. Now, as I said, I am not a vet or a doctor, so for those of you who are asking what IVDD is, Google it, guys. Why would you ask me? I'm not an expert. Just Google it. I Google everything. It's not hard. You just punch in IVDD in dogs. Almost 3 years ago, January 27th, actually, 3 years ago, Frankie had an accident. Coincidentally, this actually happened to be the day that I started talking with Josh. And we didn't actually meet until March 7th of that year. But 3 years ago, Frankie had an incident. It was his first ever injury. I was walking up the stairs of my mom's basement. I always walk on the left side of the stairs because I am a creature of habit, and coincidentally, Frankie always walks on the left side. So if we were walking up together, I would make sure that I was on the right. Well, I didn't realize that Frankie was following me that day, and I should have, and I messed up, and I still feel really, really guilty about it. He says it's okay, though. I love you. Frankie was following me up the stairs that day, and I didn't hear him because the basement steps are very steep, very long, and carpeted. And I guess he was trying to race me to the top, and I had no idea. As soon as I got to the last step, I felt him brush up against my leg. There was, I don't know, 4 or 5 inches between my leg and the wall. And Frankie tried to squeak past me. He slipped as his foot reached the last stair because of the small space he was trying to fit into, and he tumbled down those steep stairs. Frankie fell. I turned around and froze. My mom was standing there and saw it all, and she screamed because she's grandma. At the time, I didn't think that Frankie had any injuries. I noticed his shoulder was a little bit sore for a couple of days, and then I picked him up one day, and so I think it was dislocated, or I thought at the time. Now I'm starting to think otherwise. I think that fall may have been what caused this, and so that makes me feel 100 times more guilty. I wish I had brought him to the vet right away, but I planned to, and then all of a sudden he got better out of nowhere. I had made the appointment, I was going to bring him in, and then he was fine. Do you remember that day? So Frankie ended up having a little cut underneath his eye and a sore left shoulder. But that's all that we could tell. So I didn't panic. I put heat and ice on it. I nursed him. I stayed home from work for a day or two to take care of him. And then he miraculously got better, and I didn't think anything of it. Well, he had a couple flare-ups after that, after I met Josh, like officially in person. Once every 6 months to a year, Frankie's shoulder would get sore. Little did I know it was actually his neck getting sore, and I didn't know. I just didn't know. It was an honest mistake, I realized, but obviously I'm a mom, so the guilt eats me alive. I wish I had seen this sooner. Every May, I bring Frankie for a annual vet checkup, for a physical and heartworm test and pills and all that. And that May, I had actually brought him in for his annual checkup along with Mitzi. I mentioned the fall, and they made sure to do a thorough physical exam, and they said that he showed no signs of pain or suffering and no tenderness. But I think it was there all along. Frankie just played very brave. He didn't like to show people when he was in pain. He still doesn't, which is why it was so hard to catch this early on. So being that happened right as I was starting my relationship out with Josh, and we always thought that Frankie hated Josh, I'm starting to think that maybe he associated Josh with pain because it was the same time frame, even though Josh had nothing to do with it. And now suddenly he loves him after all the pain is gone. Also, there are differences between men and women. I don't care what anybody says. We are not equal. We all have differences. Women tend to be more nurturers, a little more gentle. I think that Frankie was scared of Josh. Not because Josh is violent or rough or loud or mean to him in any way, shape, or form. I think it's because when Josh picked him up, he wasn't quite as gentle as a woman would be. There are differences in strength and speed, and men often don't know how strong they are. They have no idea usually. So I think Frankie was always just a little bit scared that he was going to get hurt with Josh, hence the bug-eyed look and the, oh my goodness, he's picking me up. That's my theory anyway. I don't know if it's accurate. I mean, time will tell. I don't know if Frankie will go back to being snotty to Josh and ignoring him and glaring at him. But I certainly hope not, because this has been really, really nice to see. Josh has always treated Frankie like gold. He treats all of our boys like gold, but he treats Frankie a little bit, I don't want to say better, but he babies him a little bit more because he's so small. And because he knows how I feel about him, he's my baby. Well, they all are. But he's tiny, so they're different. They're different animals, really. Just because they're the same species, they're really not. The difference between big dogs and little dogs is astounding. What's this? Have I been replaced by a man with a beard?
It's the beard.
Is it? Wiener. Has Mummy been replaced? It might be true.
Yeah, something about the surgery. He's mine now.
We'll see. But so far we're pretty proud. Chevy, are you Mom's #1 fan? Chevy. Diesel's watching too. Is that you, Diesel? So Dad and the boys got home unexpectedly late last night, right, Diesel? You ignoring me? Frankie here was very happy, weren't you, that Dad was home? Hey? So happy. Dad just went to town to go get a haircut, but Frankie was snuggling with him this morning. Weren't you? Do you know those people, Chev? This is Frankie's last dose of gabapentin. No more crazy pills, buddy. You excited? Yeah? We are at Grandma and Papa's right now. And this is where Frankie grew up and lived most of his life. And this right here is Frankie's spot, isn't it, bud? It's so warm because the heat comes out of that vent. So every single morning, because we keep it colder in the house at night, obviously, Frankie would sit right there and watch Grandma and Papa make breakfast. Right, Mom? Hey, Wiener?
Every morning, my little wiener friend.
Every single morning.
My friend. Well, you thought it.
He's so happy to be here. Spoiled. He just got a bunch of cooked carrots from Grandma. First thing she does when she comes home from work, of course.
Little wiener got to fatten him up.
No, we don't.
Not too much, just a little.
No, he's perfect now.
Well, he is perfect. He is a beautiful size.
We just want him to gain muscle and lose fat. That's all.
So do I.
Yeah, that makes 3 of us.
And then I'll come around.
Auntie's boy. So much love. Get them. These boys are getting ready to go on the truck. We're just gonna stay home. Look how fuzzy these couch covers are when they're home. Mom's gotta clean once you guys are gone. Oh, sleepy today. He had a busy day yesterday at Grandma's house. Hi, Dad.
It's about time to party.
Party?
These three.
Oh my.
Him, and me. We're gonna party all the way down to Kansas City, right?
Party animals. Look at them. They're pretty intense. Can you handle them?
Oh yeah. Can they handle me?
That's true. We are officially 16 days post-op. Look at this incision. Almost 100% healed. Frankie's doing great. He's off his painkillers. He's happy as a clam. Still licking the paws though. Self-soothing. He's a little bit more tired, but I think that could be from a visit that we had the other night at Grandma's. And he's very relaxed when it's just us at home. Frankie hasn't had his post-op checkup yet. I had a receptionist that we know quite well call us from Clear Spring Animal Hospital, and she asked if actually we could hold off with the appointment if Frankie's in fact doing well until Dr. Tara gets back from holidays, because she took a huge interest in his case. And I, of course, said yes, because Frankie is doing amazing, no signs of pain, eating well, sleeping well. He's happy, so I thought it would be okay. Good morning, Wiener. He's tired. I got home from a friend's house last night, and he had this, like, crazy puppy moment. He was whipping down the hallway back and forth. I couldn't stop him. I tried, because I know he's not supposed to be running and jumping a whole bunch, but it's really hard to discourage such an amazing transformation. Like, he's so happy and so energetic now, and he hasn't been like this in forever, and so I don't like to discourage it. He was really excited. He was even playing with toys like crazy. You know, I tried to keep him from whipping them around like some dogs do. He does that a lot. He's tired. Look at him. Anyway, we are vlogging to tell you that we have some good news. I have been in contact with Spirit of Hope Rescue in Winnipeg. I have asked them what they need, what I can get or what Josh and I can get for them with your generous donations. And so far, all they really need are those puppy playpens. So I've ordered 6 on Amazon, waiting for those to come in. And they need puppy food. So mid-February, we've made, I don't want to say an appointment, but we'll be going to an event that they're hosting, and we will be making the donation then, because Josh will be available to be with us, and he'll make sure that he's home. We would have already liked to do the donation, but Josh hasn't been home a lot, and when he has been home, it's been for like 24 to 36 hours, and the rescue wasn't holding events those days because it was weekdays instead of weekends. So we've been in contact. We now know what they need, what kind of food they've approved, all that. And we're really looking forward to mid-February when we can make these donations. And I look forward to getting those exercise pens in the mail. I will show you when they come in.